One of the things that I've learned about coming here is that everything leads to maybe something else in terms of discussion. And so I love that Pat statement, we have our minister. Well, let me assure you, I've never met people like you. And I am so thrilled because even though I'm shaking in my pants and that I am trepidatious, I'm so excited. And I would just like to add to her comment, I have you. And that's my fortune. I would like you to listen to this meditation and feel free to give your review of it because it is where I am right now. Why do we need a Savior? Do I need a Savior to forgive you? No. Do you need a Savior to forgive me? No. You can forgive without a Savior. I can forgive without a Savior. Some have forgotten the one who killed their child. No Savior needed. Why does God require a Savior to forgive? You and I don't require a Savior to forgive. Is God less loving than we are? Is God less forgiving than we are? Is God more angry than we are? And by the way, when did we sin against God? I remember sinning against you. I remember sinning against my neighbor. I remember sinning against myself. I remember sinning against my environment. When did we sin against God? Do you remember? I don't remember intentionally sinning against God. Does God require a Savior to forgive me, even if I don't know when I sinned against Him? Would you forgive me if I didn't know when I sinned against you? Of course you would. Is God allowed to forgive me if I don't believe God exists? Would you forgive me if I didn't believe you existed? Is God allowed to forgive Jews and other non-Christians? Many Christians do not condemn Jews and other non-Christians for having a different belief. According to Christian theology, God does. How did Christian theology become so unlike us? Christianity has created a God less loving, less forgiving, more angry, more vengeful than the people God created. Thank you.
Our offering will now be taken for the good works of this church. Thank you. is risen upon me, is risen upon me. The glory, the glory, the glory of the Lord is risen upon me.
Moment of privilege to the body and to the worship associate. We are truly indebted to you. You have the courage to have pulled this church through the COVID. You have offered yourself in ways that I can't even imagine. I don't know you, and it's my deep regret that I don't, but I'd like to, and I would like to say sincerely thank you. It's an old Chinese proverb. Stuck with me for many years. The future isn't what it used to be. Oh, today is my first sermon as your newly elected minister. Now, up till now, you've only voted on finalist candidates that exclusively came from Unitarian Universalist ordained religious denomination. One big surprise to me is you voted in the affirmative, coming from outside of the UU tradition, and you have operated in this situation much more than I, and you know much more than I do. Well, I thank you. I'm excited. I'm very scared too, but it's a great feeling. Back in the day when I was a college student, I was going to be Walter Cronkite. So what I did was I joined on to this radio group, the network. Back then, we didn't have cell phones or cable news networks or computers or anything. What we had was a really big microphone. And the latest technology were IBM typewriters with the ball, remember that? And it clacked and clattered constantly, the teletype machine. Now, we were bona fide, self-described DJs. And we read the latest news, the local news, with that noise in the background, giving the listeners the view that we were, coming off right with the news. Well, primitive as it was, we amateur broadcasters had this bell system to signify what was important. Breaking news. One bell was normal headlines. 3 or 4 bells told of coming tornadoes or hurricanes. 5 or 6 told of a major accident underway or a plane crash or a ship sinking or something. 7 or 8 rings told of a national emergency, like the death of a president. 9 or 10 rings meant that the country was under a big threat. Global disaster was imminent, and 15 full rings meant that the country was under a big threat of global disaster that was imminent. And so naturally, somebody, a DJ, wrote, "We should announce to all the students after the 15 bells they no longer had to worry about getting their term papers in." Well, the end of the world might require more of a bunch of bells going off, and news travels fast. And one thing we usually don't want to hear is that the peace and tranquility carved out for us in our lives would be a tsunami of terror and unknown changes. We live in a modern age. And we still react scared to earthquakes hitting, at least I do. Giant buildings falling down, wars and rumors of wars. Eventually, we're sure the sun will darken, the moon will provide no light, the stars will fall from the sky, and everything will be in chaos. There's scenes that scientists predict, and Hollywood special effects have done some number on that. the calamities before us. Oh, it's scary. Always the suspicious of the apocalyptic language of our doom and demise as a species that we hear every day. It's not really something you want to hear before you go to sleep. It's scary. But life itself is scary. Isn't it? I don't want to ruin your day, but we both know there's a lot to fear. Let's be serious. If you were in the Twin Towers on 9/11, you'd think the world had come to an end. And for almost 3,000 people, it did. It was the end of the world. Did you know anybody that died from the World Trade Center? I did. I knew a few people. And a friend of mine was a Port Authority policeman. He lost 29 co-workers. Over 600 Muslims were killed. Bin Laden's own people. The congregation members in Pennsylvania were listening to that tape of the plane crash. And, it was bad. And the very first person that was listed as a casualty was the death of the chaplain of the fire department. He had gone over to help somebody who was wounded from the debris, and a huge piece fell on him and killed him. He was number one. Well, every day people face tragic accidents and homicides, and every day someone gets a terminal illness. Every day it doesn't take much to get us all in a shaky, anxious state. Like the Sunday morning that you're going to preach your first sermon. Well, there are many unsophisticated calamities that keep us in a state of turmoil. And so we need to deal with being scared. We need to face the fact that eventually, as time passes, something is headed our way. And today, by a mysterious turn of events, I came to you and you came to me. Now, none of us, absolutely none of us, knows the future. That's the first thing you need to see. I was so down on looking ahead when I went to grocery shopping. I refused to buy green bananas. Well, we should plan our lives in some fashion, of course, and we should keep a schedule. And I want to thank all of you for helping me. I want you to love me. If I go off a schedule for whatever reason, bring me back. The motive is innocent. And, it reminds me of the optimism of the future. Remember Annie? The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. I think of the day and say, when I'm lonely, etc. And then there's Scarlett O'Hara from Gone with the Wind. The main theme, you know it. Oh, fiddly-dee. I think that money is the most important thing in the world, and I'm determined to get all I can, Ashley. But I'll think about that tomorrow. And then when you remember it, oh, you know it well. Red, where will I go? What shall I do? Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. How many times did I want to say that to people? But, all right, no. They paid $5,000 for that censorship, and that day, well spent, I must say. And I get annoyed at the TV ministers who predict the end of the universe on a set day and a set time. Then it doesn't happen, and they move it up a bit. I just get upset with that. Everyone is alarmed. I keep them afraid and keep those donations coming in, folks. Well, truth be told, since none of us know what's ahead, the very least we should do is not willfully destroy any hope we have as people in the human race for a future, whatever that future may hold. How many here just want to know? Raise your hand. How many people here, if you had the opportunity, you'd like to know the date and time that you're going to die? You would. Okay. Why? You mean you wouldn't do it anyway? Oh. Okay, how many people here, raise your hands, don't want to know? See, why not? No, that's the best. Yeah, you can't beat that. That would be a surprise to me, you know. If I, right. You remember Yogi said, you better invite your friends to your funeral, or they won't invite you to theirs. Well, would it make a difference either way? That you knew or you didn't know? Would it make a difference? Not even a little. Now, would you say, just nod your heads, that I'm an affable guy and easygoing and friendly and outgoing? Would you say that? But there's one thing that I am totally vicious about, uncompromising about. You know, they say if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I would like today to begin Together Ministries. And what is that? I would like you to mind your conduct as well as your beliefs. And do not gossip. Do not gossip. I can take criticism. I'm pretty big about that. And I welcome it, actually. I love the praise, but I love the criticisms. Betters me. Do not confuse humiliation for humility. You will lose. And if you have a specific belief that's different from what others are, you are welcome here. But let me assure you that I'm not naive. You will not impose your beliefs on anyone else. And you will not ever judge people without the proper channels that are provided. If you've got a criticism, write it down, put your name on it, and send it in. Or talk directly to the people. Do not talk around people. Because people said that to me. Well, yeah, it's a great group. They're all very bright and they're very intelligent, but they're already... Really? They're already... No, they're not. They're not, no. Because that's going to break the Together Ministries. And that's what we have here, I believe. One truth I know is that we can acknowledge we're still in charge. Yes, you and I, there's much we don't know and way beyond our control. So why do some people obsess over that which we don't know and can't do anything about? My dear friend, Bishop Desmond Tutu, the Anglican Archbishop of South Africa, who just passed, I visited him in Soweto, and we became very close friends. He showed me a cartoon of God digging through his filing cabinets. There's a cartoon. And God says, oh my goodness, I seem to have lost a copy of the divine plan. Who's in charge of the divine plan, whatever that is? I must suggest in many ways we are in charge of how and when time will end. We are in charge of our lives, and we will provide our needs no matter what comes our way. And I'm telling you, you have been amazing. What do you need? You need help? Pastor Jack, you want to do this? Is there something? Are you okay? Everything's good? I love those comments. I love them. I welcome them. I'm undeserving of them, and I'll try to live up to them. I must suggest we are in charge. Do you believe that we're in charge? Don't find your answers from a place that is flawed, the Bible. Discombobulated, often off base, it won't work. We don't know the future. And I remember teaching all these seminary students one time, and I said, you always get one in the class, with the nasal sound. Professor, I read here, it says that in Thessalonians, 1 Thessalonians 4:16, it says that we'll know when Jesus comes back, he's going to give us a command. What is that command? Now, I don't like giving answers like that. I like people to do their own exegesis and eisegesis instead of me spoon feeding. So I did what any self-respecting clergy would do. I changed the subject. He wouldn't let me do that. So what's the command? He kept saying it, So I just said enough. What? I said enough. I was remembering the time that I was in Africa. I stood on the grave of 20,000 people who were beneath me. I saw the carnage between the Hutus and the Tutsis. I saw the people and the indignity of their lives and the eyes which still haunt me at night. They were vacant. And then the stark cruelty that was unleashed on these people, beyond description. Surviving people had one limb missing. No clothing. I gave a 12-year-old boy my clothing. He thought it was great. Can you imagine him fitting into this big guy's stuff? But he did it, and he was so thrilled. Oh, my gosh. It was animal, savage carnage. And the eyes of those refugees told me that. Empty nothingness. So when he kept digging at me, what's the command? Enough. What? I said enough. What do you mean? Enough starvation, enough terror, enough death, enough indignity, enough lives trapped in hopelessness, enough disease, enough sickness, enough. Whatever comes our way, we can believe in hope and we can believe in a future. We can, you and me, we're in control. Robert Louis Stevenson put it this way. Stars shine over the mountains, the stars shine over the sea. The stars look up and see everything. The stars look down on me. The stars shall last for 1,000,000 years. 1,000,000 years in a day. But I will live in love when the stars have passed away. Yes, it's true. No one knows the future. What we bring out, that's you and me. If we just stop hustling for ourselves and be real Unitarian Universalists, well, for you and me, the future isn't what it used to be. I suppose there's one more thing to be said. What's the motto of the Scouts? Be prepared. I was a scout at Philmont. I went to the Jamboree, and I can't remember the year. It was so long ago, but one of the tasks that many of us take seriously is to be prepared. Some don't, but we watch our savings. We watch our 401ks. We hope they go up. Our stocks, our mutual funds. We want money to be left on the table when we die. And we're careful to have good health plans, so that we live. We want enough for our kids, emotional, physical, mental. And we want to be strong when there are unexpected challenges. Yes, we do. The only place that we're shortchanging ourselves as we prepare when we underuse the human spirit. Why do we have such anemia? I don't know. Are you prepared to bear any burden? And has your human spirit slowed in its growth? We need to be prepared. We need to plan. As you face the future, are you strong? Do you trust yourself? Don't be afraid. You're not alone. Just don't neglect the warnings that remind us to get ready for whatever is ahead. We need to take account for our lives. Nobody knows the future, but we do know we hold the future. What's the state of your soul? I'm going to find out. You're going to find out mine. As we prepare for whatever may come our way, are you building up or are you tearing down? Are you winding down? This nonsense about, we're getting old in the congregation. It don't fly. Not with me. with me. I mean, I've talked to many of you, and some of you are younger than me, and that you have actual years, many older than me, but you're younger than me in spirit. I just don't buy that anymore. It's always the right time to do the right thing. It's not what we know that gets us into trouble. It's not what we don't know that gets us into trouble. It is what we don't know that we don't know that gets us into trouble. And I will end with just a little story. I went to Drew University, and I'll have you to know, they finally said I'd go there. I've been there. They couldn't find my transcripts. You know, that background, they couldn't find my transcript. Are you sure you went here? Did you attend the ceremony at the... Yes, I did, I think. And it just never come in. It just, you know, it was so long ago. It's not digitized. And so, well, you know, we have to go into the vault, whatever that is. Well, thank you for the compliment, I said, but I know I went there. At least I think what's on the wall said I went there, blah, 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 more blah, blah. Well, the president of Drew University, it was Madison, New Jersey, and he was running late one morning. He had to speak at the Chamber of Commerce. Presidents do that to get the school better known. And he had to do that in East Orange. So he's running and running and running. He gets to the train station in Madison. He jumps on the train. And he says to the train car conductor that clips the tickets, he said, "What time does this train come into East Orange, New Jersey?" This train doesn't stop in East Orange. What do you mean it doesn't stop? I have to speak at the Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, but this train doesn't stop in East Orange. Well, I'm the president of Drew University. And I have to stop in East Orange. But this train doesn't stop in East Orange. But don't you see that I have to do that? Can you please go tell the engineer and ask him to stop in East Orange so I can get off? And what? Sure, I'll ask. But we still are not going to stop in East Orange. Just go and ask. Well, he went on, he came back, he said, the engineer has said it's against all federal, state, and local regulations for a train to make an unscheduled stop at any depot that it's not supposed to stop at. But in light of your special status, he has agreed to slow down. So they taught him, you know, he's got his bag here, and they said, now when you hit the ground, you hit the ground running, and the centrifugal force of the train will go ahead. You will get out, and then the train's force will go beyond you, and you will slow down, and you will be on the platform in East Orange. Is that okay? And sure enough, on three, 1, 2, 3, go! Well, he jumped off, and he's huffing and puffing. It worked. He's running and running and running. Well, the train was pulling away, and he was slowing that way, but he was running and running. Well, at the very same time, there was a man who works for the train, a burly man, T-shirt stained with coffee and big, muscles and hair, and he just woke up. He was in the caboose. And he sees this man running with his briefcase in a nice suit. Small man, president. And this guy was big, And he reached down and he grabbed his collar and he pulled him in. And they fought, like boom, 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 right? And he said, wait, calm down. This is your lucky day. Why, this train doesn't even stop in East Orange. Didn't see that coming. So, I say to you, this is not the end. It's not even the beginning of the end. But it is the end of the beginning. My first sermon, I was elected. I was elected by you to be your pastor. You elected me. I keep saying that to myself as I'm in the car. I was elected. I've never been elected to anything. So I said, holy shucks, golly gee. See, Ron, I kept it, I thank you. Thank you. There it is.
Okay, this is part of it.
I wish for you to go in peace. I wish for you to have greatness in your heart to give to others. I wish for you to see that giving is far more than getting. I wish you to have the experiences that I have. And I wish for you to meet somebody like I did, a whole bunch of Unitarian Universalists in Tampa.